why would a disappointed customer come about in your business?
Basically, it's almost always unmet expectations.
Yep.
Now, is that legit? In other words, did they understand reality and you really let them down, or was it misunderstanding about what they would expect? And if you spend your time making sure that you have clarity with the customer, you'll avoid 90% of the issues that you have.
Yeah. You said beforehand, if you have a disappointed customer, you shouldn't have had them as a customer.
Hmm.
And I think that's true. Like
Yeah.
either you aren't qualified to be doing the work, so you shouldn't be having them as a customer, or they're not really a customer you want to have because they're so disgruntled, and that's not someone you should have qualified them better during your sales
Yeah.
process.
I think that's one of two. I think unmet
Yeah,
expectations
absolutely.
over the long haul, but beforehand, uh, if you need to learn, there's a whole process, but basically you need to learn to recognize a jerk. And sometimes you get ambushed. You think it's
Yeah.
going well and you find out otherwise. So it's hard to be 100%. But you, if you've been around at all, you'll know the warning signs.
Yeah.
Somebody who
Uh,
doesn't respect your time and texts you all the time and said you were going to and you should have and I want this and
yeah.
they changing their mind all the time. Sometimes you just kind of go, you know, I really want that sale, but I don't need it that badly because it's going to wipe out everything else that I'm
Yeah.
trying to do.
Yeah. There's a really good exercise you can do. I'm sure people are familiar with buyer personas, where you're just kind of making a semi-fictional character that is your ideal customer. Another term for that is ideal customer profile. Typically, this is when you're doing business to business transactions, but you can apply it to a an, a consumer as well. But whenever you're making your ICP, your ideal customer profile, you usually have it in kind of like tiers. Like, hey, this is our like main level customer. This would be like on the high end, or this would be kind of a smaller project. And you kind of try to distinguish between those different ICP levels and what makes them fit this ICP level versus the other one. You're thinking about what their budget is. You're thinking about maybe if it's a residential thing. You're thinking about their house size. You're thinking about the location. You're thinking about the size of their family. You're thinking about where they work. You're thinking about all the different things, identifiers, demographics, qualifications that they have, what they're interested in, design styles, whatever it is. But so typically, like if we're doing that with someone, we're going through 3 different ICPs, maybe low end, middle end, high end. We always have that 4th column, and that's the anti-customer profile. And if you wouldn't, that's actually one of the most fun exercises to go through, because every time I ask a business owner, "So who's your anti? Like who's someone you don't want to work with?" They have really good answers, and it's all from experience. It's all from like, yep, I know exactly who I'm thinking of whenever I'm making this anti. But when you do that, it brings so much clarity to the qualification process of, is this a good fit for us or not as a customer? And so I think if you can think about who you don't want to work with ahead of even working with someone, it makes it that much easier to not have those disappointed customers. And it's really not just disappointed customers. Oftentimes, a disappointed customer means an upset boss, it means a stressed out employee. There's huge impacts that are beyond just your reputation whenever you're dealing with a disappointed customer.
Yeah, I have a person that I'll even say it's a family member, not in
Oh,
Oklahoma, but was talking to him or her to this person, and they're wanting to paint their house and all this. And said, "How's it working out?" Well, we had a guy out here, and he was here for a while, but he told me he didn't think we could work together. And
good for him.
I did not explore it, but I'm thinking, well, I mean, the guy might have been a schmuck. I don't know, but probably he was an experienced guy, and he's going, "Man, I'm seeing a lot of warning signs here, persnicketyness." And so I just kept my mouth shut. But I thought, ooh, now this person does not listen to our podcast, so this person will not know I said that. But
I've got a good friend who who's a roofer, and he listens sometimes. Maybe I'll send him this episode. He There's a huge storm in Oklahoma in 2021, and my old neighbor, but also dear family friend, wonderful people. Um, I referred I referred this to the friend, the roofer, their house for their roof to be replaced. And this project, it's a residential roof. It went on for months. It just went so long, and she was the type of person that was, uh, gonna get up on the ladder and get up on the roof and watch the guys doing the work, and, like, just over the top, sending texts all hours of the night about little things, and it's because she's so diligent, and she's a wonderful person. You would absolutely want her to be your friend, but I don't know if you want her to be your customer. And he he tells me about it all the time. I ask him, "Hey, like, I think they need some work done here," and he's like, "No, get away. I never wanna go back." But
Right,
yeah, it's you gotta know what are the signs? Are they if they text me more than 5 times unprompted in a day, they're in my anti-customer profile,
right, right.
something like that. So, I think that's a really good thing to be aware of. I think when it comes to an actual disappointed customer, they have impacts. Obviously, I think a disappointed customer that leaves a bad review, it can leave a huge impact, and we're gonna address reviews in more detail here in a minute. But obviously, I think it's also very, very important to just make the point when if majority of your business is coming through referrals and you have a disappointed customer that you don't handle well, that's going to impact your referrals, which is going to impact your business. I think a lot of times you can think, oh, it's just that customer. I don't need to worry about it. But the reality is, like, you really did miss an opportunity here to have a compounding effect of referrals on your business because maybe you would you handle that situation well, and they're like, wow, I really appreciate how he handled me as a disappointed customer. I feel like I was heard, understood, and that a fair outcome was achieved to address the issues. And now I'm a raving fan. I'm going to pass along my friends. I'm going to share this with everybody. Know that they need to use you as a contractor. The other aspect of this, you don't know who the anti-evangelists are out there. Do you know what I mean by that?
I do not.
So an evangelist being someone who's a raving fan who's going to promote you nonstop to their friends, family. They're going to make a social post about you, like, "Oh, I love this guy." The anti-evangelist, the exact opposite.
Oh,
They
okay.
don't
Yeah,
stop at a bad review on Google. They go to Yelp and Facebook and every other place you can,
yeah,
Better Business Bureau, and leave the review. But then they also start the thread on Facebook of photos and never trust so and so and tag you, and everyone else likes it and has the angry emoji face on their
right.
posts. That's the
Yeah.
anti-evangelist. Have you ever seen any of
And
those?
oh, yeah, and I read a long time ago, I might have the number a little bit wrong, but they're 26 times as likely to leave a review as a raving fan. Of course, the
Yeah.
definition of a raving fan includes a review, but of a well-satisfied, happy customer,
Yeah.
as we all know, because when you try to get Google reviews, it's just like pulling teeth. "Oh, I promise I will," and then they just don't. That's why they're worth so much, but the negative guys, the antis, they'll leave a review